Okay. Hello. Welcome to the 2024 year review video. I am doing it sort of earlier than I usually do. Feel like I do. I don't know. Maybe not. Um, I grab all the things that I need to do this review, and we will get on with it. So, first thing, I'm gonna address the elephant in the room, and you may have seen it on the last two vlogmas that I finally posted. Let me do a first thing. Even though it's a very sunny, clear skies day, it's very windy. Um, Towards the back of my house, which is where this room is facing, there is a pretty big tree. I don't quite remember if it's our tree or if it's our neighbors from the other street tree, but because there's a lot of wind, the branches are moving a lot, which will, create all sorts of crazy shadows. What I could do is open an additional window, with hopefully that would upset. I'm not 100% sure. Let me open one window. Hopefully, it will help with all the crazy changes in the shadows that the tree is gonna cast as the branches move with the wind. But uh, that could mean that some of what my neighbors are saying or doing can sort of be heard. I'm not sure. We shall see. Um, anyways, um, what I was attempting to say prior. Oh, the actual elephant in the room. The hair. Yes, I did cut it. It is now what we say like bra level towards the where my band of the bra naturally sits on my back. If you've been watching my channel long enough, you may have caught up with the Esther cuts her hair once a year, usually towards the end of the year, and that is correct. So now that has been addressed, my this is my yearly cut, and I usually cut it myself because I just need layers in my hair for to keep the weight down, because the length that you guys saw last time, that it was like all the way down to my waist, that gives me a headache. I was dealing with constant headaches, and yeah, some of them were stress, but most of them are the length of the hair and the weight of the hair. So we're back to medium length kind of situation. I mean, there's longer layers and there are definitely shorter layers. But yeah, now that that's out of the way, I had to take a sip of my tea because I was getting a little thirsty. So let's review 2024, right? So if you remember, I decided that for 2024, the word of my year was going to be conquer. I was going to conquer all of those different things, my fears, my procrastination, this and that. And to some extent, I did conquer some things, but not all of it, not consistently. So it was it was a battle of conquering. uh, we made headway, but we did not cover the entire thing. So it is not a fail, but it's not also a full win either. Now, I did mention my 3 yearly goals. Um, and I mentioned I do writing, personal, and community slash business type of goals. And most of the time, they're more community specific than business specific. But yeah, I jot them down, even though I do have the planner that has the goals written. I jot this down before I found this. Because also that's the other thing I'm going to show you. I halfway through the year change planners. Because I was getting tired of having to, create a layout for my months and my weeks and all sorts of that. I know there are simpler ways, but with all the things that I wanted to do and all the responsibilities that I was fighting to accept, I didn't had any time to spare to create a layout, a monthly layout, a weekly layout. So I switched to a happy planner that everything is already set up. I just jot down things in and add stickers. So that's what I did just to kind of like show you. This was my planner up until August or September, I think. I think August or September, one of those. And then I got this 2024 to 2025 planner on sale. This was like, I don't know, less than $10, definitely. And it's already, everything is already in it. I don't have to draw anything. And if you ever done a bullet journal, drawing lines, just the lines, takes a lot of time. Okay, so less chatting, more reviewing. Okay, so I said for my writing goal for the year of 2024 was going to launch successfully and profitably my pen name Sally while starting the next phase of Mireya and querying an Esther project by fall 2024. Let's pause and more naive Esther. Okay, let me break it down. So, I did launch Sally's pen name, and I will say to some extent, I launched it successfully. Is it profitable? Not yet. Um, Out of the, I think, 12 books that I wanted to publish, I published 8. Um, Halfway through the year, I did a pivot of what I was writing in it. So I was writing in a series where romances were happening um, in different countries. Um, and I hit a very, very strong wall with one of the books, which pretty much does suck out of all of the excitement for me in that series. So after a lot of mm, fighting, and obviously the months that I took to work on the holiday romance, I eventually moved to write stories that will center the fake dating trope, which is one of my favorite tropes to read and to write. Um, so for those, I released two books, and there are, I think, two or three more books coming next year in that same trope. And then I'm gonna wrap that and move to another thing. And I also release the holiday romance. Finally, after 2 years, it is out. Uh, Obviously, I am not gonna like tell you the title or show you the cover or share any links. If you happen to find it, read it and enjoy it. You don't have to tell me. Just enjoy it. But yeah, I instead of 12 books, I did 8, which is a feat in and of itself. Because at the same time, I was working on, so I submitted the K pop book to 2 mentorships. And I think I mentioned it in one video. If I can remember which video, I'll link it somewhere up in the card, down in the description, that I did not get the mentorship, but I did got a offer from a published author to do a partial critique. And that was done. I have read all of the feedback, and I have an initial plan to work on that. And I will give this book this year. If I don't have this book ready to go on query, I am just going to move to another project. Sometimes some books are just meant for you to write them, and that's it. And it might be that this is a book that it's just something that I wanted or needed to write just for myself. We shall see. I'm giving the K-pop book one more year. That's it. Because again, this book has gone through a lot of iterations. Like this current iteration is a third one, and I have redrafted this 2 to 3 times. This iteration, it has 2 previous iterations. So I have dedicated well over 5 years on this book, and I'm some people believe in like working at it year after year after year until it's done and out. I find for myself that working on working on a project and moving to another, like project to project to project, that's where I level and learn more than working on a specific thing for so long. Um, so yeah, K-pop book has one more year. So going back to to this, I am running on tangents. Good luck editing this, Esther, or good luck watching this, friends. The querying part of the goal did not happen clearly, but we're getting. I feel like we're getting closer to either have it ready to query or to move on completely. Um, so Sally was successfully launched, but still not profitable, and that's okay. I had very high hopes and very wrong expectations about my time. I also didn't expect to hit such a wall with those books that when we talk about word counts, you'll see how many months I was like in a rut. It was rough for a while, um, but I believe that I could start getting profitable this year. So now that I have a better grasp of what indie publishing requires of me, I think I have a better chance of making profitable. Um, Starting the new phase of Mireya. So this happened. So let me explain. Towards the end of November, I finish telling the entire story of Marina the Vampire, which its current title right now is The Vampire and Her Vampire Hunter. That is done. When you see this, if you are a Kindle Vella reader, I think you'll still have a little bit more time to read there. Not entirely sure. You'll have to check. Um, but yeah, Vela is completely done, and I am fully embracing Coffee and Patreon as my ways to share the serialization of the stories. So right now, if you get into the lowest tier, whether it's on Patreon or Coffee, they're the same price for $5. You will have access to all 50 episodes of Marina the Vampire and every additional behind the scenes holiday chapters, because I think there's a Thanksgiving one and there's a Christmas one. The Pinterest, the Spotify playlist, all of that is exclusive to members. So if you can read almost 120K long story in a month, you can do that for $5. Um, if not, if it takes you a little bit more, it's perfectly fine. Also, come January and the new year, the story of Karina, which is the witch that we meet in Marina, is going to start releasing. I already have the first, I think, 12 episodes, and that is pretty much the first 3 months of the year written, and half of them are already edited. So if you read fast enough, you will be able to kind of like get a start on Karina's story too, and you might like it and stay. So yeah, that the lowest tier will get you uh, a paranormal, enemies to lovers, really, really slow burn romance. And mind you, it is vampires. It is not vampires in a Twilight sense, so or not even in the Vampire Diary sense. So there's some blood. There's a little bit of like gruesome things. So be mindful of that if you're not into really bloody kind of vampire romance. But yeah, so I close that and I am ready to open the next phase, which is the second serialized story and revising Marina to turn it into a book. Books? Question mark? I don't know how many it will be. What I do know is that I formatted the book and I have it as a draft on my KDP account, and I already order a proof copy, and it should be here uh, towards the beginning of January. It says January 9, but I don't know if it's actually gonna come at that point because holidays, uh, end of the year craziness in the mail. Um, but as soon as I get it, I will do an unboxing. It might be a short, so I can have it as a short, as a reel, and TikTok. Um, and maybe I will do a slightly longer video, not only showcasing it, but kind of like explaining how am I gonna go about it? And probably the Right With Me series, which is just focused on my Mireya's work, might turn very much heavy revisions, and you might see how big the world is, and you might rethink the tier that you might want to get if you get into the memberships. Um, but yeah, I do think the Medella, we're starting that new phase. We're already started it. And the Sally goal, I would say, was half done. The quarrying did not happen. So I will say this writing goal got 60 to 70% done, which is pretty nice if you ask me. And probably you are. So, yeah. Now, for my personal goal, it says control over my life and my mom's lives while getting ready to start traveling by the end of 2024. That did not happen. I am going to be straight up with you. That did not happen. I honestly was, it took me pretty much the entire year to not only realize but accept the level of responsibilities that I have now that I didn't have ever. Um, and how challenging it's gonna be to balance it all, and also accepting the things that I will probably have to do that will help my mom and it will make my life easier. So it was a battle. It was an uphill battle, but I think we are, you know, accepting and resignating ourselves that this is where we at the moment, and we shall see. I have we're going to talk about 2025 goals on another video, and I'm pretty much just gonna remove any goals or any expectations around traveling. Traveling will happen when it happens, because it's just adding stress for something that doesn't need to add any stress to it. So that that was a huge fail. That was one of the things that I struggled the most to conquer. That was the real battle. That thing gave me a run for my money, and I feel like it won. So the next one was the community slash business goal, and it says expand community to start pay for itself by December 2024. I feel like this was achieved in a very different way that I had intended. So I monetarily, monetarily, um, it did. For the things that I put into, and there weren't that many. Let me be clear. Um, there wasn't that much money put into the community, but whatever was put, I got it back. So that was not a problem. What I think it really work is we have grown this community in a way that this is what I see, especially with the creators of main Discord. Um, while is always good that I spend time in, interact and talk with all of you, I see that you guys also are, you know, being a touch base to each other and recommending things and being soundboards and being cheerleaders and showing up for some of our members of the community that are starting a YouTube channel or a Twitch channel or starting to stream or starting to blog and are showing up for members who are like starting to publish or are ramping up their publishing schedule, things like that. It's just, it feels like as a whole, we did achieve the goal not to only expand, but to also nurture each other. Um, and there were plenty of times that I wasn't available. I am currently in my vacation offline sort of time, though I have peek here and there whenever I'm like watching something on YouTube and there's someone live. It takes me a minute to just go in, hit a like, say hi, have a nice day, and then keep on with the rest of my day. I have seen that everyone still invested in each other and showing up to all of these different lives and all these different communities. Were also expanding and reaching into other smaller communities and making friends. And it's just, it's beautiful to see. I am glad that this was a goal, that in that our community is filled with people who care about the community, and that you guys are for each other regardless how online and how available I am. Because honestly, my main thing about community is to transcend me, you know? Like, it like, I wanted to be at a point and have a foundation that doesn't necessarily need me um to to function, to prosper, to expand. And with all the different things that we've been doing throughout the year, it has, I'm seeing that. I'm seeing that. And hopefully we will be able to keep going that on 2025. So those were my yearly goals. I will say I did what, 60 to 70% of them. Not bad. Not bad for the battles that I had to deal with. Now, let's talk about workouts for 2024. I know not everyone likes to talk about workout and things like that. I do like to do that. Just give me an idea of how things went. So yeah, I one of the reasons that I am filming this late is because I was waiting for to add to tally the December words, and I have not, because I am still hoping to write some more before the end of December. So we are gonna look at this with, instead of 12 months of workouts, we're gonna look at it with 11 and guessing how December is gonna end, even though I don't have a clue at all of how I am doing this month writing wise. But yeah, this and we will see. This will reflect a lot of like, I did a lot of editing this year, a lot of revisions this year, and when I am on revisions and editing, I there's not a lot of new words, and I count only new words. Um, so yeah, let's run through this. See, yeah, let's do that. Okay, so on January I wrote 4,270 words. January was a pretty heavy editing month. I was gearing up to releasing 3 books in February, and I think I released two in February and one early March, if I remember correctly. Um, so while I was still writing, I think at that point I had four or maybe three and a half. I don't quite recall. I should have written those things, but it was more revising than writing, but we got those. In February, I wrote 8,667 words, and I am pretty sure that most of them were words for the fifth book in that series. If I if I recall, I think that's when I finished it. Have a feeling. Um, March was 3,341 words. March was another very heavy revision month because I was gearing up to releasing 2 books in April that were supposed to release in March, but I didn't have them ready to be released in March. And that's when I started to struggle with that specific book, book number 6. So I continued to struggle during April. During the entire month of April, I wrote 2,193 words. My lowest word count in the entire year and in my entire life of writing. That was rough. I was really, really struggling. I'm going to be honest. I was really, really struggling. May, I got 5,110 words, and I think at this month I was just like, you know what? This is not happening. We're just gonna move on. We're not gonna write that book. We're not. And I think I tried to write the other books in the series because the other books were going back to the couples that the books were already out. But that did not work either because it just sucked my enjoyment for the series. On June, uh, I wrote 21,504 words, and I am almost positive that all of this were rewrites for the holiday romance. Um, I did a huge uphaul on the main character and her mom relationship and how it kind of like developed and resolves. So I rewrote a lot of that. And I think July, in July, I just went back and did some of the revision type of thing because I wrote 2,704 words. Let me say that again. July, we got 2,704 words. That's the second lowest word count in a month for me ever. That was another. At this point, again, very heavy revision time. I was revising the holiday romance to have it ready for betas. Uh, and I was also thinking, what am I going to do to publish in substitution of all of the books that I had already planned to publish for Sally that I am not writing because it's the summer. Not a lot of people read winter books during summer. Some people do because there's a specific book that got an uptake in KU reads, but it was not enough to do anything much. So yeah, I was struggling, but I think around August, late August, early September, I started watching a Thai BL shocker called One Day Good Day, and the entire thing is a fake. The premise is fake dating between a doctor and a boxer. And I was like, oh my god, why I don't write a fake dating series in the town that I had already created for the holiday romance. So, August, I wrote 10,112 words. Cannot quite tell you if it went to the holiday romance or if it went to these newer books. Um, but I definitely do remember that I started to like really create not only a small town, I created two small towns in a medium sized kind of city and created a county where I could pretty much set any book that I want. Um, and this is when we definitely got into writing, the joy of writing, and kind of like finding what I could get back into publishing. So, September, this is my highest month. I wrote 25,438 words. In October, I got 22,414 words. And those were the 2 months that I wrote two, three of the books. I think so. Three of the books. Two or three of the books. Um, so yeah, I again pivoting work. This is one thing that is great about writing short books. If something doesn't work, or if you, for some kind of reason, the joy of it kind of like dies for you, you can pivot to something else. Because again, you at least I am writing in the 15 to 20k thousand word for books. I'm may for books that are not part of any collaborations, I may go a little bit higher because I may need to go a little bit higher. Um, but I could, if I needed be, just dedicate a month of just drafting it instead of a longer book that will take me 2 to 3 months to just draft. So it's a lot easier to pivot and reassess things when you are writing shorter books. I do know the strategy is not doesn't work for everyone. Not everyone can write short books. I understand that. I cannot write long books. Though Marina is an outlier. Marina is almost 120k, but it's a story that I've been writing for 2 years. So, and it's a serialized story. It's kind of like it meant to be. That's the point. I mean, there's a lot of points, but length is one of the points. So yeah. Then in November, we only no, we don't do only. On November, we wrote 9,638 words. This is probably a lot of more words because I had to rewrite one of the three books that I previously written, and I was like in that thing of rewriting it. But also, it's not a lot of words because I was revising the some of one of the books because one of them publish well actually both of them published in November, but I'm pretty sure I was still revising one of them, the one that released later in November. um so again, when I am very much in revision editing mode, I don't draft a lot. it's, it's hard, it's hard, and I usually I'm pretty sure a lot of these words are also just Mirella's words, and not Sally's. So it is what it is. December, I am not sure how many words I'm gonna end up getting. I don't know. I'm guessing it's probably gonna be around the 10K mark, maybe a little bit more. Who knows? I do know that up until November, my total for the year is 115,391 words, which I look at my yearly word count on my previous year since I've been tallying them. That is a low number. I'm usually in the 3,000, 250 to 3,000 words, 100 words upward. But yeah, I struggle creatively this year. So one of the reasons I do this is to see how certain parts of the writing journey stifle my creativity and how that affects my writing. So I now know that I have to be very careful how I stack revisions and editing so I don't end up with just one, two, three good months of writing, 3 months of decent writing, and then one, two, three, four months of mediocre writing because it doesn't feel good. I'm gonna be honest. One, two, three, four, five months of mediocre writing, and I'm not saying mediocre in quality. I'm saying mediocre in like feeling of writing, of enjoyment of writing. I Again, I have to be mindful of that. I don't want to repeat that in 2025. I don't mind rewrites because it's still very much creative. And depending on the revisions, I'm sometimes I mind it, sometimes I don't. I certainly do not like editing. It's just my brain. It's really painful. Definitely adore Morgan, who's my editor. Uh, Definitely, she totally gets me, gets my boys, gets my pitfalls, um, and I will make sure that I have enough money to pay her to do a lot of editing for next year. She is worth every penny and more. Um, so yeah, that's it. That's it for the review of 2024. It when For the most part, this is why I like to do reviews. For the most part, it went well. It was a good year. Was it a struggle too? Yes. But I feel like we are almost out of the growing pains, and I can kind of like start getting used to the things, and be able to produce a better outcome. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so very much for sitting here and chatting with me about my review of 2024. I hope you had a good year too. And if this was not a good year, I wholeheartedly wish you that you start entering a better year, or your best year, or one of your best years in your life. I I wish you the best. I thank you for being here for another year, and I hope you stay for another year more. And yeah, that's it for now. I'll see you guys on the next video. Yeah, bye. Oh, and if you like this video, hit the thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, what are you doing? Subscribe. We have fun here. Also, we are quite productive, I guess. So, yeah, now that's really it. Bye.